We had been together for 10 years. Everyone envied our relationship. Yet, just 3 months before the wedding, he found his true love and asked me to let him go. Fine, but not until you help me find a new boyfriend. I don't want to be laughed at behind my back. I dug my nails into my palm, forcing myself to stay calm on the surface. But how could I be calm? I want you to suffer as much as I did. Chapter 1. What? Leo looked up at me, clearly surprised in his eyes. I even caught a flicker of irritation, something he probably didn't even notice himself. I didn't miss that emotion. I gave him a mocking smile. Isn't this fair? Leo's phone rang. He answered her call right in front of me. His face was still cold, but his tone softened. He muttered, "Whatever," and hurried out of what used to be our home. He told me to throw away everything of his. I looked around at the handcrafted couple mugs on the table, the huge portrait of us in the living room, the matching hoodies on the balcony, the couple's pajamas. I didn't understand. How could we not be true love? We started dating in our first year of high school. Even when I had to read a public self-reflection in front of the entire school, I still said I liked Leo. He stood in the sunlight smiling at me, the boy everyone admired. Yet in his eyes, there was only me. I studied like crazy just to follow him to the same university. Even the principal, the dean, and our homeroom teacher who used to say I'd affect his studies ended up supporting us. How was that not love? I reached for the cup, but accidentally knocked it over. It shattered on the floor. That was the final straw. I broke down and crouched on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. When I finally stopped crying and started picking up the shards, a message popped up on my phone. It was a photo, Leo, wearing an apron, cooking in the kitchen, tall and lean, the curve of his neck exuding quiet tenderness. Sis, stop clinging to him. That one sentence stabbed into my heart like a knife, and twisted. A shard of the cup sliced open my finger. The blood dripped steadily, but I didn't feel a thing. I stared blankly at the red on my fingertip. My vision blurred again. This is beyond cruel. Chapter 2. I drove to Leo's cousin Eric's place. Back when I first entered a university, Eric asked for my WeChat. Later, when he found out I was Leo's girlfriend, his gaze still wasn't exactly pure. But since he was known as a notorious playboy, and with Leo in the middle, I never really felt uncomfortable around him. Maybe it was all the frustration bottled up. After tonight, I might never have the courage to come here again, so no matter how heavy the rain was, I drove over without a word. I knocked on the door. Moments later, it opened. Eric was wearing a bathrobe, his hair half wet. He paused, surprised to see me. "What's wrong?" He stepped aside slightly, gesturing for me to come in. "Can I stay here tonight?" I didn't move. "You're crazy?" His hand, still holding the towel, stopped midair, his voice raised. He clearly understood what I meant. "If I can't, I'll just leave." I turned halfway, but before I could go, Eric grabbed my wrist and pulled me inside. "I've got a fever, 39 degrees. Wanna try it?" Eric leaned in close. I turned my face away, not quite used to the proximity. He smelled good, not like Leo's faint, cold cologne. His scent was addictive, thick with desire. I closed my eyes, wrapped my arms around Eric, and tiptoed closer to him. In that moment, it was like a wildfire had been lit. He cursed under his breath and grabbed my chin, deepening the kiss. All heat, like an open furnace. Eric's rhythm matched the storm outside, but it burned 100 times hotter than the rain. In the past, to avoid suspicion, every time Eric looked at me with that half-smile, I'd politely call him brother. Brother. My mind went completely blank. All that remained was our breathing, tangled with the sound of rain pounding on the glass. Leo, even when we still slept in the same bed, it always felt like there was a wall between us. Maybe he was being faithful to that disgusting woman. But Eric was fire, blazing and consuming. Only after the storm had passed did the rain finally cool the flames. When I woke up, it felt like I'd been run over. My head ached dully, like it was packed with lead. I'd caught his fever. Eric walked in wearing a white t-shirt and gray pants, holding a bowl of porridge. He looked full of energy. "You're awake. I gave you some meds. Still a slight fever. I called in sick for you. Just rest." I pushed the bowl away. I had no appetite. Not hungry. Want me to feed you? Eric raised a brow. That rogue charm back in his smirk, his lips already leaning closer. I leaned back slightly. I'm not hungry. I'm heading back. I reached to lift the blanket, but I hadn't brought any clothes, so I shrank back under the covers. Eric placed the bowl down with a cooler expression. Suit yourself. Go home. Then, give me my clothes. He took large strides away, and just from the back, I could tell he was annoyed. He tossed my freshly dried clothes onto the bed, then slammed the door on his way out. After I got dressed and handled a few work things, I made a call to Leo. Leo, you didn't forget what you promised yesterday, did you? You've got a cold? Just that one line of concern pierced me like a needle, made my eyes sting. What is it? I paused to gather myself before speaking. Help me find a boyfriend, Elena. There's no need to be so petty. Finding someone new. Moving on from being cheated on, how is that being petty? I cut him off with a smile. I'm serious. Leo, let's meet at our usual cafe. We'll talk face to face. Chapter 3. The cafe wasn't close. And with traffic, Leo got there first. He sat alone by the window, looking down at his phone. Cool, refined, distant. Not at all like someone who'd fall for a woman, let alone cheat. Goes to show, never judge by appearances. I set my bag down and sat across from him. I ordered a coffee and smiled. I think your cousin Eric is really handsome. Pretty charming too. We never exchanged contact info though. Could you help me set up a meeting? Leo kept staring at my lips. I touched them subconsciously. Turned out they were bitten. I woke up late. Didn't have time for makeup. Sorry. Eric's not a good idea. He's too much of a player. I gave him a sarcastic look. And you're not? Does that make you a better option? Leo turned his face away slightly and didn't respond. My family all thinks we're about to get married. You and Eric. Enough. Leo, don't you think you're disgusting? I cut him off. So you knew we were getting married. Huh? And you still cheated on me? What does that make you? Leo's expression went cold. I never loved you, but I never betrayed you. The moment I realized my feelings, I told you honestly, Elena, I didn't want to lie, or get stuck in a loveless marriage where we'd end up resenting each other. Thank you, Leo, for being so honest. I forced down my nausea and the twisting pain inside, and smiled politely. You're right, Leo, you're never wrong. I don't blame you, but I really do think Eric is attractive. Can't you help me out? If you don't think he's suitable, that's fine. Just pick someone else you think is. I'll go with whoever you approve of. How's that? Leo's gaze darkened, hard to read, but eventually, he called Eric. Eric's entrance lit up the whole cafe. He had that kind of magnetism. Drop him in any crowd and he'd instantly be the most eye-catching one. So, why did my dear future sister-in-law summon me? Eric gave me a smirk, eyes full of unspoken desire. Leo's face darkened visibly. He stayed silent, lips pressed into a thin line. Eric raised an eyebrow at me, then casually slung an arm over Leo's shoulder and stretched his long legs as he lazily sat down. I asked him to help me find someone to date. I said lightly, you know, keep it in the family, naturally. I'd pick Big Brother first. I held out my phone to show him my QR code. Eric was stunned for only a second, then quickly adapted to the mood. He scanned my WeChat and saved it with the nickname, Little Lover. Right in front of Leo. That's enough. Not him. Leo snapped, cutting through the heat between me and Eric. I put my phone away with a smile and looked at him gently. All right, let me know when you have time to recommend someone else. But Eric's smile faded a little. You messing with me? He said it to both of us, but his eyes were locked on me. I turned my face away and said nothing. But under the table, my foot slid along his pant leg and gave him a gentle nudge. His ears turned red in an instant, though his expression stayed cold. Leo, still replying to messages with a furrowed brow, didn't notice a thing. She's being ridiculous. He muttered, sorry. Bro, you go ahead. I need to talk to her. Eric glanced at me once more. After catching my subtle signal, he stood up and left with long strides. Next weekend. Then, help me find someone decent. I stood and walked out, without looking back. Chapter 4. In the underground parking lot. Eric was sitting on the hood of my car, smoking. Through the haze of smoke, his face looked almost unreal, too good-looking to be true. You just waited here like this? What if Leo came down with me and saw you? Eric gave a short laugh, snuffing out the cigarette. Wouldn't that be perfect? No, big brother, I said softly. He betrayed me so easily, like it meant nothing. Our 10 years, just a long, ridiculous joke. If I don't pay him back, I'll never sleep peacefully again. Click, I unlocked the car. We locked eyes. After a silent standoff, Eric opened the passenger door and got in. I got into the driver's seat and noticed he hadn't buckled up. I leaned over to help him, but he suddenly pressed a hand on my shoulder and kissed me. Hard, with heat, with frustration. When he pulled back, my lipstick had smeared onto the corner of his mouth. It looked sinfully tempting. Where to? He asked. Your place. Eric grabbed my hand forcefully but turned his head with feigned arrogance. When we arrived downstairs, Eric stayed silent, playing with my fingers the whole way. Inside the elevator, he finally broke. How exactly do you plan to pay Leo back? I lowered my head and smiled. When he realizes he still loves me, I'll forgive him. Eric's face darkened. Clearly, he didn't buy it. He was waiting for the real answer. I want him to feel the joy of getting me back, to believe I've been waiting for him all along, when in reality, I've already been secretly sleeping with his big brother. Finally, he shoved my hand away. His eyes turned icy. You think I'll play along with that? Ding, the elevator arrived. I walked out without looking at him. I'm not playing. It doesn't have to be you. It could have been anyone. I just want to sleep peacefully again, not lie awake every night wondering if I was really so unlovable, so pathetic that even Leo didn't want me. I need him to suffer more than I did. Just before the door closed, Eric's long fingers shot out and held it open. Without a word, he hoisted me up. He threw me onto the bed, almost aggressively. We stared each other down. Eventually, he gave in. Later, I sat quietly on the edge of the bed, listening to the sound of the shower. For once, I felt okay. He gave in. I knew he would. He liked to play. And this time, he didn't lose anything. Chapter 5. Under my constant urging, Leo really did introduce me to someone. I shoved down the flicker of resentment and went to the date anyway. The guy was beyond stiff, almost robotic. We exchanged just a few words before I laughed, more out of frustration than amusement. Then my phone rang. It was Leo. How's the date going? I'd like you to take this seriously, I said. Even after everything we've shared so many years, don't you want me to be happy? A long pause. When Leo finally spoke, his voice was hoarse, just like I expected. Okay. I pulled some cash from my bag and left it on the table, picked up my purse, and walked out. And there he was, standing under the streetlight, a cigarette between his fingers, unlit, just watching me, silent. Are you regretting it now, Leo? From the moment I told the truth, every step I took has gone beyond your expectations. Are you finding me intriguing again? Getting to know a version of me you never saw before? Why were you waiting at the door? I walked up to him, just close enough, but not too close. Leo gave a faint smile. Thought you might be mad. Just wanted to keep an eye on things. Oh, I see. Then maybe you should keep watching every time. One day, I won't be mad anymore. He said nothing. He walked with me to the parking lot, watching silently as I drove away. Chapter 6. Every time, Leo would wait outside the door. The longer I stayed at dinner, the darker his expression got. But each time, when I eventually walked out, he looked as if a weight had been lifted from his chest. I think he was starting to realize what he really wanted. All he needed was a spark. I looked at the man across from me and smiled apologetically. Mr. Lou, the man outside, he's actually my boyfriend. He wants to leave me, but he can't let go. So I'd like to ask you for a favor. Will you watch a movie with me tonight? Lucas, wearing silver-framed glasses, glanced toward the door like a true gentleman. Of course. Just hearing that made the wine in my hand taste sweeter. It was the first time I didn't walk toward Leo after dinner. Instead, I waited for Lucas to come out and got into his car. On the way to the cinema, I could clearly see Leo's car in the rearview mirror, tailing us. afraid to lose us, yet scared we wouldn't notice. The movie was great. We sat in the last row, lovers' seats, with a clear view of the whole theater. When the lights came back on, Leo couldn't hold back anymore. He turned. Our eyes met. I asked him calmly, "Why are you following us?" Lucas played along perfectly, resting his hand lightly on my shoulder. Leo had always had a quiet kind of dominance. He didn't answer me. Instead, he walked over and grabbed my hand, trying to pull me away. His face was cold. I turned back and smiled gratefully at Lucas. But I didn't stop Leo. I let him drag me out, let him push me into his car, and he got in too. "Are you angry?" I asked, turning to look at him. "What do you think?" I narrowed my eyes and smiled. "What right do you have to be angry? Didn't you say we couldn't break up until you found a new boyfriend?" I stopped looking at him. The silence inside the car was suffocating. Leo stepped on the gas. Slicing through the stillness, the black car merged into traffic, slipping between light and shadow. When we arrived at my building, I looked up and saw a light on upstairs. My heart skipped a beat. It had to be Eric. That brief panic distracted me. I didn't catch what Leo said. "What?" "Elena, don't be with anyone else." Leo pinched the bridge of his nose, repeating himself, his voice tight and rough. A sharp ache bloomed in my chest. My nose stung. I didn't even have to act. The tears came naturally, like a stone suddenly cracked, then shattered completely. But I held it in, turned my head and looked out the window. My mind went blank. If only we were still back in the bamboo forest behind the school, hugging under the moonlight. When I didn't respond, Leo noticed something was off. He reached out, turned me toward him, and saw clearly the tears welling in my eyes, refusing to fall. "I'm sorry, Elena. I was wrong, Elena. Don't cry, Elena. Talk to me, Elena." Same reddened eyes, same boyish tone, same handsome face. At last, I couldn't hold back anymore. I threw my arms around Leo's neck and cried. He gently patted my back, letting me slowly calm down. When I finally pulled away, I half lowered my gaze and looked at him. "I was waiting for you." "I know." Leo reached out and gently ruffled my hair, his eyes full of tenderness. "There can't be a next time, okay?" Leo was about to come upstairs with me, but I stopped in my tracks and turned to him. "I can't accept you coming back yet. I need time." His footsteps paused. A flicker of pain flashed across his face. His voice was soft. "Okay." Only after watching his car drive away did I enter the elevator. When I opened the door, Eric was sprawled lazily across the couch, long legs resting on the coffee table. He was watching some boring commercials. He didn't even look at me. I was exhausted, grabbed a robe, and went straight to the bathroom. The water had barely started running when Eric came up behind me and wrapped his arms around me. His hands were hot, so hot it made me shiver. His teeth grazed the side of my neck like a wild animal, slow and grinding. "Are you regretting it?" His voice was cautious. Testing. Regretting what? Regretting how I'd cut off any way back to Leo that night? How could I? Just thinking about that woman's message made it hard to breathe. I turned around urgently, clutched Eric's neck, and kissed him back hard. I craved response. I craved an endless, entangled night, to become a puppet with no emotions. That way, love wouldn't be the thing that killed me, even if Leo, just as I'd predicted, came back. I'd still feel lost, still hurt. We were so close to being happy forever. He stabbed the first knife. She stabbed the second. So now, I've decided to set it all on fire. Chapter 7. When I woke up, Eric was still asleep. I was about to get out of bed when he pulled me back. "Stay with me a bit longer," he murmured without even opening his eyes. I shook his shoulder. "It's late. Come on. Don't sleep anymore." He finally let go, lying on the bed to fully wake up. When I came out of the bathroom, he was already dressed and looking ridiculously proper. He even made breakfast. I sat down across from him and sipped my porridge. "You probably shouldn't come to my place for a while." "What? Now that I've got clothes on, you're pretending you don't know me?" Eric raised his eyebrows, definitely not in a good mood. "It's not that," I replied. "Leo's waiting for me to forgive him." "You can't be seen." Eric let out a cold laugh. tossing his chopsticks onto the table. "Ha, so I'm really just your side piece now?" I didn't respond, just drank my porridge silently. I knew he was just emotional. We had talked about all of this beforehand. He knew. No comforting? Nothing? Eric reached out and pinched my cheek, clearly ticked off. I was thrown off by his bluntness. Stunned. I reached up and tousled his hair. "Be good. Bear with it for a while." He seemed barely satisfied. With a grunt, he got up to clean the dishes. I picked up my bag and left without looking back. Maybe pretending made things feel more interesting, but I never thought there was anything real between Eric and me. Not even with Leo. After all. Downstairs, I was surprised to see Leo waiting. For a second, I was glad I left alone. I got into the passenger seat without a word, no hesitation. Leo smiled, clearly in a good mood. He handed me breakfast. I raised my hand and declined. "I already ate." "You made it yourself?" He looked surprised, eyebrows rising slightly. "I never ate breakfast. Too lazy. Leo used to make it or buy it for me, just to coax me into eating something before work. Who else?" I turned my face away, avoiding his eyes. Maybe I felt guilty, maybe just empty. Either way, we stayed silent. It wasn't until the car stopped outside my office that he finally spoke. "I'll bring it for you tomorrow. No need to get up early again." My hand froze on the car door. I lowered my gaze and looked at him. The sunlight spilled gently across his face, tracing every clean and sharp edge of his features, like a sword just about to be unsheathed. Sharp, cold, restrained, a perfect work of art. "Leo, what about that woman? Is she still working at your company?" Her name was Alice, a junior from our university, Leo's assistant. Their story played out like some cliché soap opera. Alice was beautiful and capable. Her feelings for him were written all over her face. At first, Leo found her annoying and wanted her transferred. But one night, after being drugged, set up by someone, he almost went all the way with her. She resembled me just enough. Back then, Leo still had only me in his heart. Even with his mind foggy from the drugs, even with his body losing control, he still knew the difference. Still clenched his teeth and forced her out. He kept her by his side afterward, not to raise suspicion, so he could investigate the truth. But the more attention he gave her, the more twisted his feelings became. In truth, Alice was just a pitiful employee caught up in someone else's scheme. So in that moment, Leo's guilt turned into a compassion like he'd never felt before. And then, somewhere along the way, he started to lose sight of the difference between her and me. Same long eyes, same slightly upturned red lips, same delicate chin. To him, the feelings started to look the same too. Or maybe, they had already shifted. "I'll ask her to leave." Leo's eyes were clouded, uncertain. That hesitation stabbed into me like a shard of glass. But at the same time, I understood perfectly just how right I had been. To stop imagining any kind of future for us. I nodded, and walked into the building without looking back. Chapter 8. Leo moved fast. By the end of the day, just before I got off work, Alice sent me a message. It was an offer from another company. Better pay. Higher position than she had at Leo's. She didn't say anything else. But the message was clear. Leo couldn't let her go just like that. He had to pave her way. Before finally letting her go. And me? I became the bitter side character who tore true lovers apart. Their tragic love story was now a beautiful ending. It was kind of pathetic. What was even more pathetic was the follow-up message Alice sent me. "Sis, he won't come pick you up tonight. Do you believe that?" I did. But I still waited downstairs at the office. Waited. And waited. When it got late, I finally opened an app to call a ride. Maybe it was just bad luck. While waiting, there was a small accident. A car ran over my foot. I went pale and was rushed to the hospital. The pain was unbearable. Everything went dizzy. I broke into a cold sweat. X-rays, bandaging, 3 missed calls from Leo on my phone. When the 4th came in, I hung up, and finally, silence. I'd been stuck in the hospital so long. It was already late. Still couldn't get a ride. Sitting in the hallway, blankly staring at nothing. I didn't want to contact any friends or family. I didn't even know how I let my life turn into such a mess. Suddenly, a shadow blocked the light in front of me. I looked up. It was Eric's beautiful face. Truly beautiful. He reached out and gently wiped away the tears that had dried on my cheek. "How did you find me?" I asked. But before I could say more, Eric pulled me up and into his arms. I wrapped my arms around his neck without resistance, carrying me in long strides. He said, "I have a friend who's a doctor here." He was angry. I could feel it, even though he didn't really have a reason to be. But the air around him was ice cold. I didn't say anything either, until I saw Leo's car parked downstairs outside my building. Eric gave a cold laugh, dripping with sarcasm. Leo got out of the car and tapped on the passenger side window. I rolled it down and looked at him. His eyes were dark, his lips pressed into a thin line. "Why are you with my brother?" I pulled out my phone and showed him Alice's message. Alice was a little too confident. She assumed I was too proud to snitch to Leo. Maybe when I was still in love with him, that was true. But now? In this game, I only care about winning. And when you want to win, you don't care how. She went drinking with people from her new company. Leo said, frowning, got herself into a mess, asked you to come help her. There was clear disgust in his expression. I nodded. But I waited for you. Leo, waited so long that I got into a car accident. It hurt a lot. It was your brother who found me at the hospital and brought me back. I didn't want to see you. I had planned to spend the night in the corridor, cooling off. But now I see. There's no point. You should go. We agreed last time would be the last. I won't wait for you anymore, and I can't forgive you again. Before Leo could even speak, Eric stepped on the gas, speeding out of the underground garage. He carried me all the way upstairs. Leo was leaning against the wall, looking disheveled. When his eyes met mine, I couldn't read them. His lips parted, maybe to ask Eric to let me down. But then he saw the bandage on my foot, and said nothing. I reached out to unlock the door. Finally, Leo grabbed my arm. "Elena, today was just an accident. I'm sorry. You have too many accidents. And your sorries mean nothing. It's okay. Good thing your brother brought me home," I said with a smile, leaning a little closer to Eric. I felt his back stiffen. I also saw Leo's face, visibly darker. After we closed the door, Eric tossed me onto the couch, not too hard, not too gentle. "What game are you playing?" "With you as the contrast." He'll realize just how much he hates Alice. Of course I'll forgive him eventually. That's what will make me look like I really loved him. I sank into the couch, voice flat, expression cold. Eric didn't leave that night, but he slept in the guest room. I opened my camera app, recorded the entire night. 2 people, unfamiliar and silent. 2 people, each in their own room. And me, tossing, turning, obviously pretending to sleep. But clearly, awake the entire night. Chapter 9. When I opened the door, Leo was still there, just like a statue. He hadn't moved all night. His long eyes were bloodshot, dark circles under them. He looked hollow, tense, on the edge of collapsing. He looked at me, and Eric, and then, tears. His face was blank, but the lines of anger and helplessness carved deep. "Elena, can we start over?" Leo tried to ignore everything, but last night, Eric and I, enough, he shouted, fists clenched. "I don't care." Eric let out a cold laugh and turned to leave, but just as he passed Leo punched him, hard. Eric took 2 solid hits, before he fought back. The 2 of them went at it, brutal, each aiming to hurt. Only when they were both too exhausted to keep going, did I finally speak. "Let him go, Leo. Nothing happened between me and him. Come here." Leo immediately dropped his fist, and in that moment, Eric landed one last punch. Leo let out a muffled groan, looked at me, pathetically, like a child who got hit at school. Eric stood up, gave me a smile. It looked bitter, maybe mocking, maybe just tired. Leo followed me inside. I handed him my phone. He dragged the video forward bit by bit. His shoulders dropped, and dropped. I pulled out the first aid kit, kneeled beside him, quietly cleaned his wounds. He stared at me, swallowed, his voice low. Wife. I'm here. I'm sorry. Tears streamed down Leo's face. In 10 years, this was the first time I'd seen him cry. He never cried. He didn't know how. He was always composed. Too composed. Are you sad today? Yeah, those days, every single day. I was heartbroken, more than you. Leo. I met you when I was 16. We got together at 17. 11 full years. We were each other's bones, flesh, soul. How could you hurt me like that? Leo couldn't even say sorry. He just pulled my head into his chest, so I wouldn't see the tears that wouldn't stop. Only after he calmed down and stopped crying did I start dressing his wounds again. He had double eyelids that folded inward, and after crying, they were completely swollen. Leo seemed to care about his image. He turned his face away, holding my hand. Not wanting me to look at him, I turned his head back. It took a lot of resolve. I held back my nausea and kissed his eyelid. You're not ugly. Don't hide, wife. His hand gripped my waist tighter, hinting at more. I pushed him away and started cleaning up the first aid kit. He just sat there, quiet, but he got the message. His hand clenched slightly. Back then, no matter how close we were, Leo was always too shy to call me wife except at night. Now, he said it so naturally, having lost me once. He was desperate to claim me again. Chapter 10. I didn't let Leo move back in, and I didn't need to say anything. Alice was fired, and it became nearly impossible for her to find another job. She tried to make a scene at Leo's office, but she wasn't on his level. She disappeared quickly after. Now, Leo worships me. So kind. It doesn't even feel real. Maybe it's guilt. Maybe he's trying to make up for everything. Wife, how about we register first? The ceremony can wait until you're ready, he said softly, holding my hand carefully. I looked down at our hands. Didn't answer. Not right now. Let's see. Leo, it's still hard for me to trust you. You know that. His hand tensed. His voice turned raspy. Okay. At my building. He pulled me into his arms and wouldn't let go. I have a business trip to Hangzhou. 1 week. His tone was full of reluctance, as if he didn't want to leave me even for a moment. But for me, that same tone felt surreal. So surreal, it made my mind drift. His lips inched closer. I suddenly pushed him away. I'll wait for you to come back, Elena. I'll wait for you to forgive me, to accept me. He didn't say that part out loud. I looked at his retreating figure, tired, a little broken, and without even realizing it, I smiled. Chapter 11. Eric had just gotten out of the shower, wearing a robe, towel on his head. It's been 2 months. How long the fuck do you plan to keep me locked up like your hidden lover? Like a cat with its fur all bristled up. I couldn't help but laugh. He picked me up and placed me on the bar counter. His kisses fell hot and fast. Only you, damn it, can make me put up with this shit. I wrapped my arms around his neck and kissed him back passionately. Didn't want to think about all those vague, half-true things he said. Maybe because Leo was out of town. I was in a good mood. Felt like teasing Eric for once. Made him cry. Don't let that carefree look fool you. He's too good-looking. Almost pretty in a feminine way. When he cries, with those red eyes, he's honestly kind of heartbreaking, especially when he curses between sobs. It's something. Eric really was a great partner for the experience. I knew full well that Leo would find a way to come back early from his trip, but Eric wouldn't leave. He had reached his limit. How long are you gonna keep wasting time on him? You seriously planning to turn this fake thing real? If so, say so. I wouldn't have wasted my damn time. His temper was boiling over. Before I could say a word to calm him, there was a knock on the door. Eric looked at me. I didn't move. He just threw on some pants and went to open it. I stayed in the bedroom, slowly slipped into a dress, put on lipstick. Right as I clicked the cap shut, Leo stormed in. Wife. His voice was quiet, his eyes pleading. It was like, if I'd lied, he would have played along. I smiled. He just came over to talk. Nothing happened. Leo held his breath. pretended not to see the chaos of the bed, or Eric's shirt on the floor. I know. I believe you. His voice trembled. Eric leaned against the doorframe, scoffed. The atmosphere snapped like a stretched rubber band. Leo lowered his head, hiding the tears that were about to fall. Why, Elena? Leo, I said softly. We've known each other for 11 years. You still don't know what kind of woman I am? I'm not some sweet, innocent little darling. I'm the kind who always gets even. Leo tried to laugh. Must have taken a lot of effort. Huh? This time, he didn't fight Eric, just shoved past him and walked away. Didn't look back. Not even once. It was finally over. And yet, the feeling wasn't joy, wasn't freedom. I sat dazed in front of the vanity, wondering why. Regret it? Eric's voice was hoarse. No, why does it feel like I haven't let go? Why don't I feel happy? I didn't look at him. Still thinking. Eric laughed. Light and casual. You haven't dated enough men. Is that so? Then I'll go date more. Go to hell. Eric leaned in, face dark. What I mean is, you don't understand emotions. You're still a damn kid. This kind of thing, it's not like someone slaps you and you just slap them back and it's over. But I still think you should slap back. Why let someone hit you for nothing? Yeah, you're right. Eric's lips moved closer. I pulled away. The mood was gone. Completely. You should go home. It's almost 1. I know. Go home. Boys shouldn't spend the night outside. The door slammed shut, loud as thunder, and my world was silent, empty, as if the obsession had finally faded, but left me without direction. Chapter 12. Eric had a temper. This was the first time. He didn't come see me for 2 weeks. Even Leo showed up. I was a little surprised. Stopped in my tracks. There he was, leaning under a street lamp, smoking, just like when he used to set me up on blind dates. But back then, he never lit the cigarette. Now, the ground was covered in butts. Elena, come here. Leo's voice was hoarse. I stepped closer, got a good look at his face. Tired, haunted, and buried beneath it, a deep hopelessness. He lowered his eyes, asked quietly, have you finished getting your revenge? Yeah. Then come back. 4 simple words, but they froze me on the spot. Leo, that man with pride harder than steel. I never imagined he'd say something like that. When I finally snapped out of it, I shook my head. I don't like you anymore, not even a little. His hand trembled. He looked up at me, eyes red. Elena, didn't you say you were done with revenge? I did. I'm telling the truth. Leo reached out, trying to take my hand. I pulled away. So, is it Eric? That wasn't a question worth answering. I turned, walked into my building, pulled out my phone, and deleted every single way to reach Leo. Chapter 13. It started snowing outside. The sky was bitterly cold. I quit my job, planned to stay in Hainan for a while, chasing the warmth, soft, platinum-like sand, waves that come and go, the setting sun hanging low, silent, unmoving reefs. I never thought my life would turn out like this. To split with Leo, someone I was sure I'd marry, in such a mess. To give up the job I loved and the generous income it brought. To disappear without telling anyone, not even my parents, and hide in a small coastal town in Hainan, fishing for sea creatures I wasn't even sure would bite. I put on my hat and walked home with an empty fish basket. Ahead of me stood a familiar figure. I've been looking for you for a long time. Leo's handsome face looked tired, but there was relief too, as if he just finished racing someone. I don't think you should be here. Now I'll have to leave again. My life's good now. You showing up is rude. He clearly hadn't expected me to say that. In this picture-perfect reunion moment, the soft sea breeze that once felt gentle suddenly chilled. Leo's face turned pale. Okay, that was the best promise he could give me. He stayed where he was. As the sky faded into night, and I kept walking, then I saw who he'd been racing. Eric's bangs were damp with sweat, stuck to his forehead, making him look unexpectedly young. Shit. His rough curse hadn't even finished. when I shoved the empty basket into his hands. Let's go. No fish today. I'll steam you some crab. Bonus chapter. When we sent out the invitations, several close friends called, asking if I'd gotten the groom's name wrong. Otherwise, had I gone crazy? From Leo to his brother? I laughed and told them one by one, no, it wasn't a mistake. Eric was furious, face black as coal. You've gotten way too used to hiding me, haven't you? We're about to get married. And no one even knows I'm the main man? You're really something. He pinned me to the couch, using sword and blade to threaten me. I lazily raised one leg toward him, smiling. Aren't you the one who forced your way to the top? It'd be kind of embarrassing if we made it public now. You really want to die. Later, Eric took my phone while I was deeply asleep, and childishly posted a photo of us in Hainan to my Moments feed. It wasn't even a romantic picture. We weren't holding hands. Just me, fishing, and him, sitting nearby, bored, watching. A passing photographer had captured it. It was so beautiful. It made me believe, just a little, that love might come again someday. Maybe it was time to finally look forward. Eric once told me he'd had a crush on me for a long time. It wasn't some college love at first sight story. It was high school. Back then, Leo and I had caused quite a stir because of our relationship. His parents locked him up at home to reflect. Leo didn't want me to worry, so he wrote me a letter and asked Eric to deliver it. That night, Eric climbed over the wall to sneak into our school during evening study hall. As soon as he landed, he saw me sitting under a tree, daydreaming. Hey, not in uniform and skipping class? Interesting. I looked up and smiled at him. Just one smile, and Eric fell. He handed me the letter. I grinned smugly. So you're a fan of mine? TSK. Too bad, I'm already taken. Ha, in your dreams. It's from my brother, Leo. He muttered, trying to hide his red ears, wearing a perfect face of disdain, but I was already tearing the letter open, not caring about his sarcasm, not even a little embarrassed about my own vanity. It was the first time in Eric's life someone treated him like he was invisible, a little flutter in his chest, and a little bitterness. The seed was planted. The night before our wedding, the bride and groom were supposed to stay apart. Eric went back to his own place. I couldn't sleep, so I went out to the balcony and saw someone standing downstairs. It was Leo. Back then, he'd promised me that on the night before our wedding, he'd wait beneath my window all night, and now, he'd come to keep a promise that no longer needed keeping. I took a beer from the fridge and threw it right into the bushes. Leo went to get it. He was closer now. I leaned over the balcony, watching him. Hey, I called out with a smile. I'm getting married tomorrow. So don't show up and ruin the mood, okay? Leo, all this dramatic love you're acting out now, it's just tarnishing what we had. You'd be better off moving forward, like a man. That way, I could still believe. Those 10 years meant something. His hand froze, holding the can. Then he popped it open, tilted his head back, and finished it. At the wedding, Leo, in a black suit, sat in the closest row. That cold face of his stood out like a knife in the sun. When Eric said I do, I saw Leo's lips move too, softly, almost in sync. It was almost funny. He really hadn't listened to me, but it all exploded. On the wedding night, you're married to me now. And you're still looking at Leo? Eric pinned me to the bed. He looked beautiful, spoiled, fiery, almost delicate. So different from the player he used to be. I pulled him close by the neck, kissed him lightly on the lips. Baby, don't be jealous. I was looking at him because he looked ridiculous, okay? Eric's ears turned red. He stole my breath with a kiss. Elena, I stood guard for you too last night. I was afraid you'd run away. You didn't give me any beer. Wait, what? Where the hell were you? How did I not see you at all? Eric saw the panic in my eyes. Voice low. Leo came first. So I hid. Maybe you really didn't have to feel that insecure. Suddenly, My chest ached. That night, he asked for everything, and I gave in to every request, even the one where he asked for warm beer. God, I'm gonna die like this.